Hi everyone, welcome back to another mini ship history. This is an adaptation of an earlier talk I held at the Australian National Maritime Museum celebrating the 150th anniversary of Holland America Line, as well as the publication of the epic 5-volume book set that it documents the history of this company in unrivaled detail. In my hand is Volume 1, Volumes 1 and 2 are now available, and there's a link down below if you wish to get a copy. Today we're going to talk about two of my favorite Dutch ships, the Maasdam and the Rijndam of the early 1950s. In the early 1950s, the Holland America Line executives had a great idea. They understood that they had their niche on the transatlantic market with the luxury end, but they wondered if there was potential to operate ships that served almost exclusively the tourist end of ocean liner travel. And so they decided to convert the hull of some ultra-large cargo ships into tourist-only passenger ships. And so we got the Maasdam and the Rijndam. The concept was an absolute hit. These two ships, in the first couple of years of their service, operated at between 98 and 99% capacity, and within 4 years had basically paid themselves off. And then every voyage after that was just simply pure profit. These ships traveled far and wide under the Dutch flag. They also did various student cruises, a feature of which Holland America earned a good reputation and is covered in the 5-volume books. And they even did immigration voyages. Both ships traveled even as far as Australia, delivering immigrants as well as on their student cruises. Originally built with cargo ship hulls, the addition of passenger accommodation, while aesthetically pleasing, did mean that the ships were quite tender at sea, and so they had a habit of rocking and rolling, even in a small or light seaway. Despite this though, the ships were innovative. As I mentioned, they were absolutely profitable, and the other feature that they introduced was the Strombos funnel, which you can see in outline here. Pre-World War II, funnels were just basically giant cylinders, but here we had an application of a conceptual design that had been tested and aerodynamically proven not only to have a pleasing profile, but also to ensure that soot and smoke was all well and truly clear of the after decks. These two wonderful little ships, again, it's also interesting to note that at 15,000 tons, they are considered little in the post-World War II scene, whereas only in 1900, 15,000 tons was considered gigantic. Both ships would go on to have significant and very long careers. The Maasdam was sold to Polish Overseas Lines and became the Stefan Batory, which replaced the previous Batory, and this was the one that had actually been financed by coal shipments. Again, fascinating story, but not the subject of today's talk. And between 1968 and 1988, as the Stefan Batory, this ship served transatlantic runs as well as performing workers' cruises. Withdrawn from active service in 1988, it spent the 90s as a refugee hostel before finally being sold and scrapped in the year 2000. The Rijndam was sold to Aesthetically cruisers and given an extensive and thorough rebuild, so much so that the ship tends to look more like a spaceship than a humble tourist class passenger vessel. But this is what Aesthetically wanted. They used the hull and completely remodeled the ship into an ultra-modern cruise ship. And for almost 20 years, it successfully served as such, cruising as their Atlas. After this, though, In the 90s, the ship was sold over to become a casino ship and had a variety of names, including the Pride of the Mississippi and I think latterly the Pride of Galveston. By the 1990s, the ship could no longer operate at sea and was basically a floating casino by the dockside. In the year 2003, the ship was sold for scrap, but the Rijndam had the final say. As it was being towed away, the ship conveniently sprung a leak, rolled over, and sank, so never managed to reach the scrappers. These two humble ships travelled far and wide, had absolutely fascinating careers, and it is a shame that there isn't a book, at least not yet anyway, in English dedicated to their diverse careers. However, they are covered in the rather wonderful first volume of the 5-volume history of Holland America Line. So if you are interested, do check out the link below. And if you are enjoying these mini ship histories, then please stay tuned because there are more coming.